So you checked yourself into a halfway house, and the journey or the process began from that point on?
Well, I went into a halfway house program, and the journey and the struggle began. The program that I was in, one of the things that they emphasize is that once you're an addict, you're always an addict. And I had a disagreement with that because I knew that God had healed me, so that I had recovered from my addiction and I was no longer in recovery.
Right.
I understand their perspective of where they were coming from, but it just didn't fit me.
Exactly.
They would want you to say, hi, my name is Brenda and I'm a recovering addict, or, my name is Brenda and I'm, 3 months in recovery, and I couldn't say that because I didn't believe it. It was not my truth.
Right.
The truth of the matter is that God healed me and I recovered.
Exactly.
And for me, I had to recover. I could not spend the next 14 years in recovery. For me, I had to get to a point to where I recovered, so then I could move forth and forward in my life.
Right.
And so I would never say, my name is Brenda and I'm a recovering addict. And so I was, they did not have high expectations for me making it through the program.
Wow.
And so I went to a meeting one time because I had to, and there were 100 people in the meeting, and this lady stood up and she says, I want you to look around the room and, and memorize the faces that you see, because only 6 of you are going to make it ever in this program. And immediately I could hear people saying, I'm going to be one of the 6, I'm going to be in the 6. And, my thought was 6 out of 100. I mean, those are horrible odds.
Yeah.
And I didn't say I'm going to be one of the 6. I hoped I was going to be one of the 6, but I wasn't sure. I was concentrating more on the fact of I wouldn't even tell anybody that only 6 out of 100, because that's not, what is that telling the other 94 people? Just give up?
Exactly.
So I couldn't do that. So a few of the counselors told me, well, Brenda, you're in denial, you're not working your program, and, I guarantee you 6 months from now, you'll either be back out on the streets or you'll be dead. That was 14 years ago.
Wow.
And I am still recovered.
Exactly.
I am not an addict. I'm not in recovery. And one of the things that they did teach in this program is that, if you find something and it works for you, then run with it. Because what works for one person may not work for another. So some people might need to be in a structured environment with that verbiage and that mentality. It didn't work for me. I could not find a sponsor that I could use as a mentor who understood where I came from. And it didn't work. And so I was very blessed that I was able to leave that program with my belief system, knowing that God had healed me.
Exactly.
And I moved into a 3-quarter home where it was not mandatory for me to go to meetings. And what I did was I got involved in a church, and I joined the choir and the praise and worship team, and started doing my music, and that worked for me.
Right.
And collectively, altogether, I spent a year between the halfway house and the 3-quarter house. The 3-quarter house was, it was a self-run program. It was a bunch of women. We lived in the house. We didn't go to mandatory meetings. We had a house meeting, and it was just a safe house to live in. No drugs, no alcohol. And that fit me, and that worked for me.
Right.
So, I have the utmost respect for other programs that have helped other people.
Exactly.
It just didn't work for me. And my message is that people need to know you can recover, because it is a possibility. And, I have not done drugs in 14 years. And it's because I'm healed and I'm recovered. And I will always have to emphasize that I recovered. I am not in recovery.
Right.
So if I can do it, and I was doing marijuana, cocaine, crack, crystal, heroin, plus taking all types of pain medication and speed and LSD. If I can do it, then other people can do it.